Welcome to the Pitchwerks podcast. I'm Scott McTaggart. Over the last 20 years, I've been a sales rep, a marketer, a manager, an executive, a consultant, and an advisor. This show is designed to give you access to my list of contacts so that you can learn more about how to present your ideas at work and succeed in your career.
Startups and salespeople, marketers and managers from the Epicast Network in Pittsburgh. It's the Pitchwerks podcast.
They didn't have the grassroots element. They had good donors. They had a lot of money, but they didn't have the grassroots to get people excited about what they were doing. So that's what they needed to do. So their goal was to get 5,000 email addresses. The campaign went through, was amazing. We ended up getting 30,000 email addresses with that budget that they set aside to get for 5,000.
Hello, boys and girls. Do you like stories about selling, marketing, and startups? Welcome to the Pitchwerks podcast. Today we're talking to Bill Fletcher from Kelevra Ideas, awesome digital social marketing agency. This is cool stuff. These guys have just got cool on tap. I highly recommend you check out their website at kelevraideas.com, KELEVRAIDEAS.com. I spoke with Marcus and Bill. Bill was really excited to come on the show and dropped so much information. I think you're going to like what you hear. But before we get into that, we got to do the normal housekeeping type stuff where I remind you that rating and reviewing this program is really important to me and the people that make it. So get in there to iTunes or Google Play Music or whatever tool it is that you use. Give us a star rating. Tell us what you like and don't like about the program. We'll do what we can to deliver whatever it is you're looking for. Obviously, you can also engage with us using our various and sundry social media avenues. Generally, you're just going to type in Pitchwerks wherever you happen to be, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, not Snapchat, but Instagram, LinkedIn, which I'm trying to do a better job of reminding you. We got a great LinkedIn setup there. You're already seeing the same 3 memes pop up over and over again. Why not include the occasional Pitchwerks show card? I promise it's going to bring much needed variety and flavor to your LinkedIn newsfeed. I think you should do it right now. And then if you want to pull the whole Pitchwerks experience together, be sure to check us out at pitchwerks.com. That's pitchwerks.com. There's a website, there's a blog. This fine program's got all of its episodes posted in there. It really is one of the classier neighborhoods on the internet. Come and visit us there. Now it's my great pleasure to introduce Bill Fletcher from Kelevra Ideas. Bill Fletcher, Kelevra Ideas, are you ready to interview here on the Pitchwerks podcast?
I am so excited to be part of the Pitchwerks podcast that I've been thinking about it all day.
So you're in the presentation business. Like you are what we refer to around here as one of these pitch crafters. You're the person who takes the pitch and makes it better. You refine it.
Branding is so important, and being consistent in your brand is really important. And that's kind of the one thing that we stress is, everything does have to have a meaning behind it. That's the kind of thing that we've always stressed to all of our clients is, why does your logo look like that? Why are these the colors you're using? Why is your social media presence so much different than your web presence? And, it's important to integrate everything and make everything look the same and have that brand across every possible touch point be the same and have the same look and feel and experience for your clients, because they are engaging with you on multiple devices. They're seeing you on TV in a lot of cases for a lot of our clients. They're seeing you everywhere. So it is important to have the consistency there.
Right.
And
now when we say consistency though, do the customers already think they have it?
In most cases, yeah.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, in most cases, yeah, they don't really get it. But
you come to somebody and you tell them they don't have consistency across their different media, I think they probably take that as an insult.
They do. But that's kind of important because it kind of gives us a reason to come in and show that they can do it better. And
I'm fascinated how that conversation might go.
Yeah. So, some people, they get really defensive about their brand. Especially, some of the organizations we work with, we work with we'll probably get into it, but we work with a lot of major, international nonprofits that, their brand is their baby. And when you tell them that they may be doing something a little bit wrong or we can improve it or whatever, it is a little touchy, but when we can go back and show them, obviously various case studies and different things that we've done in the past. And, if you get them to give you one opportunity to help on the branding side, whether it's, here, we're going to give you this one Facebook campaign and see how that goes. It can turn into, a 3-year contract and you're totally rebranding the organization.
You accidentally just sort of answered the question I was going to go to next, which is how do you get started understanding that they are a little defensive?
Mm-hmm.
They've poured hours, days, months into these brands and these visuals. And now you show up, and don't take this the wrong way, but you're a young guy, right? They go, how is this young guy going to know anything about all the blood, sweat, toil, and tears that we've poured into our different campaigns?
Right.
And I think you just kind of said, well, we try one thing first.
Mm-hmm.
Is that usually the way?
That's how we've had to get our start. Okay.
Right.
Because, we started this company and we basically started, totally self-funded. We've never bought $1, and
not $1 you borrowed.
We've never bought $1.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah. We were able to self-fund for the first 6 months or so, and ate a lot of I don't even remember. One thing I ate, I was eating canned beans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was eating canned beans and rice for basically every meal for like 2 weeks straight. And I'll tell you what, it it makes me feel really fortunate now for what we've been able to build, because, it wasn't like, blood, sweat, and tears. It was blood, sweat, tears, and canned beans and rice.
Stomach cramps.
Yeah.
But you earned it.
Yeah.
And sitting here today, you earned it.
Right. Yeah. We totally did. And so that's kind of how we started. We would get one small opportunity and we would deliver, and it would lead to, an entire media strategy for that, particular company. And, one thing led to another, and, like I said, we'll probably get into it, but we got an opportunity with a big nonprofit. It kind of just, we did
If you say the words "fell into our lap," I will get up and slap you.
Okay.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah, I was going to give you the backstory of how it fell in our lap. So we did some pro bono work.
Very good.
For a awesome company called awesome nonprofit organization called Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies, based out of Washington, D.C. So we did some pro bono work for them. We did a live chat for them. So they're getting doctors to come in and chat with young mothers. So we set up this live chat for them, so these doctors could go on Facebook, and was obviously before Facebook Live and all that stuff. So you need to actually build the engine, the plugin that would go into Facebook and allow doctors to communicate directly with young mothers. So young concerned mothers had these questions, and it was a great back and forth.
Now you're building this for free.
Yeah, totally did it for free. Yep. And it was, worked out really well. The doctors loved it. The mothers had a great time. The transcripts were online, so they could go back and go through and read things, all that.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so that was the pro bono work that we did. And, a few months later, the woman that set that up for us called us and said, "Hey, I might have this opportunity for you. There's this organization that, they want to get on Facebook, and they don't know how to do it. And they're run by, some people that don't really get it and all that. And could you guys help out?" So I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And out of nowhere, 2 days later, we're on a call with a pretty major agency that was looking for seeking the help of us, because they were more of a traditional agency, and they wanted us to come on and do the digital side, in this case specifically Facebook.
That's great.
Yep.
So they've already got the rest of it.
Right.
They just know that you're better
Right.
at this one piece.
Right. So they had the client in hand, and the client wanted, was interested in getting in Facebook, and this lady referred us into the campaign because we did such a good job on that pro bono work with Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies. And so they gave us this one opportunity. This was almost 4 years ago now. And their goal of this Facebook campaign was to get 5,000 email addresses. And they gave us a decent budget, but they wanted to get 5,000 email addresses because they didn't have any email addresses. They're a pretty big literacy organization, but they were more or less funded by large donors, and they didn't have the big email database.
It's not the grassroots thing.
Right,
So the
right.
corporations,
Yes.
they see literacy as being, sort of key for the future of these young people.
Exactly.
But without the grassroots element, they didn't have the names and phone numbers that they needed to do reach.
That's
or
a great way to
outreach.
put it. Yeah, they didn't have the grassroots element. They had good donors. They had a lot of money, but they didn't have the grassroots to get people excited about what they were doing. So that's what they needed to do. So their goal was to get 5,000 email addresses. The campaign went through, was amazing. We ended up getting 30,000 email addresses with that budget that they set aside to get for 5,000, and that's how we basically became kind of a nonprofit.
You're the go-to.
Right. Yeah. That's how we became it. We're basically a nonprofit fundraising.
You're
agency.
specialists.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's.
I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Anytime you can blow expectations up by 6 times, I would highly recommend doing it. Now, how old was the agency? How old was Kelevra at this point?
So this was almost 4 years ago. So we were just a couple years old. So
Right.
yeah, we had this little office, and it was just 2 employees really, and we actually had to hire someone for this particular job because we looked at it as our big opportunity.
Right.
And
People would give their left arm
Yeah.
to do these major campaigns.
Yes. Yep. And this was our first national campaign. They had a really good brand, and they just needed a digital strategy, and that's what we provided. And for the last 5 years that we started this, they had no social media presence, and now we've got over this organization's been like about 4 years. We've got well over 100,000 on Facebook. We started their Instagram page from scratch. That's doing amazing. They've had a great Twitter engagement, and
It has to be hard not using their name, and I know you have to honor these relationships that you have. Suffice it to say, this is really, really impactful work. If you're having those kinds of numbers.
Yep.
So like I said, I know how hard it has to be there sitting there. You're like, I really want to say it, but I can't.
Yeah.
How do you pick who you work with? Let's assume now, like, all the bills are paid, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying now you're in a position, I assume from everything that you've just said, you can kind of pick who you work with.
Yeah.
What are your guidelines?
Yeah. So that's another awesome question, because
Those are the only kind I ask.
yeah, it was a few years ago where we would take it whatever came our way,
Right.
and charge half of what we should charge.
I'll cut your grass too if you throw in an extra $30.
Exactly. And we were just thinking the other day when we were building out a new office space, and
We're not going to take just anybody.
right, we're not going to just take anybody that is looking for us to do a huge favor for them. Obviously, like I said, we do a lot of the pro bono stuff, but
Still today.
right.
You're still doing a lot of the pro bono.
Oh yeah.
Good for you.
I mean, we don't charge a lot of these nonprofits what we don't charge them normal market rate for good quality agency work.
Right.
So in a lot of ways, everything we do is a little bit of pro bono, or a little not pro bono, but
There's an aspect
heavily
of it.
discounted.
There's
we believe in a lot of the organizations we work with. They do awesome things, and we understand that there's a stigma a lot around philanthropy a lot where only 10 cents to the dollar goes to the actual cause, and a lot of ways
happen.
right, in a lot of ways because of the agency cost or the fundraising cost, we're almost a part of that, and I don't like that stigma, and I like to we keep our pricing pretty low when in comparison to most of the the for-profit work that we do on the other side of things, and that makes us feel good.
So what's your split there? Nonprofit to profit.
It's probably about a 25% discount, I would say.
I actually meant how much
good
nonprofit
question.
work
Yeah.
are you doing versus profit?
Yeah. So it's about 80-20 nonprofit now.
Wow.
And like I said, 4 years ago it was 100% for profit.
Right.
Yeah. But we've gotten ourselves into a little niche, doing a lot of these, we do 2 different things for these nonprofits. So we do list building campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
So an organization, wants to build up their email database. So we'll come up with a creative way to do that, whether it's a quiz, the BuzzFeed style quizzes that have to do with their organization. So we worked with an organization. We'll talk about the literacy organization again. So it was the first quiz we ever did with them that got that 30,000 email addresses. It was, which children's book character are you? So, I mean, who doesn't want to know that? I mean, it just takes you back to you're 5 years old and your
You want
mom's
to know
reading
if you remember the character that's been assigned to you.
Yeah, your mom's reading you bedtime stories and you're like, oh, like those were awesome characters. I want to know which one I was.
Right.
So you answer 5 questions, you give your email addresses, and you find out which children's book character you are, and 30,000 people did that. So
Works for me.
That's what we call, our acquisition or list building campaigns.
Yeah.
And then what you do there is you build up that list, and then, a few times a year, you do a fundraising campaign. In a lot of the same ways, we try to get creative with the fundraising. We don't just send out an email and say, hey, give us $10.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty please.
Right. So we do different things with it, whether it's, a lot of times we'll bring in a corporate partner that will match the donation. So that kind of incentivizes people to give because $20 makes $40 or $40 makes $80.
Right.
So we'll go ahead and find a corporate sponsor to come in and promote it that way. Or there's other things we've done in the past as well, whether it's giveaways. So if you give $100, you get like a special beanie or a unique polo shirt or something like that. Just little things that it's different than just getting $10.
Yeah.
And or giving $10. But all of that, those campaigns are good ideas. But if the creative isn't there and you're not bringing people in, none of it's going to work. So that's we can come up with great ideas, but like I said, it's our designers that really do a great job in selling the different things we're trying to do.
How much of the plan does the client know before the contract starts, right? And let me tell you why I'm asking. Because I can see sometimes where you think you've got a great thing going, you've got a good plan, you've had success following this strategy in almost the exact same situation. And then all of a sudden, a third of the way through, a half of the way through, they go, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't want that.
Yeah.
Do they know the whole plan? Do they know 50% of the plan? Do they have to maybe meet with you every week, every month to approve new stuff? How's that work?
Yeah. Every client's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And that's fine. So, we have some clients where we have to give them a month-long plan ahead of time with all of the creative.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So all of the we're doing with a lot of clients, a lot of these organizations, we're managing their entire social media presence.
Yeah.
So we have to give them every Facebook post, every tweet, every Instagram post for a month.
Well before it would ever hit the public.
Yeah. With copy, with captions, with who we're going to tag,
right,
with the creative, and you have a month to go. And in a month-long campaign, they have to approve it, and we'll go with it. And then other clients, we do that for a week.
Yeah.
But there's other clients where, they trust us and we've built up. It's not about trust. It's just about what they feel comfortable with, I would say. So there's some clients we can just on a daily basis, something comes up, we can put it out, and it's like that. But where it can be kind of confusing is when we're getting into the media planning things. So, a lot of times we're managing pretty good sized budgets.
Yeah.
And, that's the nice thing about being digital is it's you can be flexible with it and you can move money around a little bit. You're not putting up a billboard and just there it is, right?
Congratulations.
Right. So
it's on the side of the highway.
Exactly. So
I'll take my money now.
So we can be flexible with it. So in a lot of cases, we'll come up with a plan for, say, December. December's our big month because that's when people doing the year-end giving. So we'll come up with a good, solid media strategy that we love,
right,
and the client approves, and everything's great. And halfway through it, we're saying, this is working way better than that. Let's take all of that money and put it behind this.
Yeah.
So,
you need to be nimble.
Right.
Especially if current events or something else happens, which changes the meaning of what you had planned.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And in a lot of cases, what we're doing is that month before December, we're doing an acquisition campaign. So we're getting a lot of new email addresses, and then we have this, 30,000 new people. So what we'll do a lot of times is we'll go ahead and we'll target those new email addresses on Facebook, on Amazon, or wherever they're browsing, because we just got their email address. So we're able to target them that way. So yeah, we get those email addresses for the acquisition campaign, and then December comes along and we're retargeting all these new people and we're getting new donors. So not only do we get new email addresses in November, but in December, we got a ton of new donors.
Yeah.
And then what you do with those donors is all throughout the year, you're trying to get them to become annual donors or monthly donors or whatever it is. And
because if you agreed with the message once, right, what's the likelihood that you're going to decide that child literacy is no longer something you care about 6 months later?
Thank you. Yep.
That's fantastic. It fascinates me, the control aspect. right? I'm really happy that you went to the detail that you did as far as 1 week here with this customer, 1 month with this client over here, because it's always been sort of the struggle, even internally when you're working with sort of an in-house marketing department. There's a chief exec, there's a vice president, there's someone upstream from you. You're never going to be in their office unless you're in trouble. And did someone look at this picture?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden it has officially hit the fan. Like you're really in trouble. Yeah. And they hold that for a really long time. And now everyone and everything that comes after it has to be scrutinized more. The micromanaging thing comes in because they don't ever want to feel that again, where they felt like, I mean, God forbid they say something that turns out to be like insensitive or like accidentally offensive. But even then, if it's just embarrassing, it has a double entendre to it. It's like, oh, we accidentally made a sex joke to 50,000 Twitter followers, right? So it feels like, how about this? A lot of the executives I know trend towards that micromanagement of message because once upon a time they said something in front of a microphone they wish they hadn't said.
Yeah, that's probably true. And what we've noticed is, this chief executive that we're talking about, or that this imaginary person, they don't even check the Twitter page
until they get the phone call.
Until they get the phone call. Or what happens the one time they did, we made a mistake.
This is a family brand, Bill.
Yeah, the one time they actually checked, we made a mistake. And we're not talking about sex jokes, but if it's like a little typo or something like that, we are so hard on ourselves with that stuff. And it's easy to do when you're publishing content for 20 different companies on a daily basis. It's easy to exclude a comma or something like that. And
I read that you guys have a lot of brands outside of your local footprint. What's your geography? Where are your clients at?
So we have a client in Miami. We have a bunch of clients in Dallas. We have a huge client in New York City. We have a huge client in Seattle.
Are you doing a lot of travel or are you doing it remote?
A little bit of both. So I go to Dallas a lot.
Yeah.
And I go to New York a lot.
But define a lot. Once a month?
Once a month, Once a month.
I mean, seriously. It's that much harder when you're not face-to-face is what I'm driving at. So there's a lot of trust just in hiring somebody out of town.
Yeah. So this literacy organization we started working with, we didn't meet them for 3 years. We worked with them managing huge budgets, doing awesome campaigns, and it took us 3 years to even meet them in person. The world is just crazy like that.
So you're obviously aware of other brands that you don't have control over. Right. You see other people trying to execute digital campaigns. I'm sure you've seen ours, for example. I'm sure you've seen, these major, national brands. What are the common mistakes? What are people doing that you think they shouldn't be doing?
I think less is more.
Interesting.
In a lot of cases, especially on social. Okay. Because the way, especially on Facebook, the Facebook algorithm's written now, that if people aren't engaging with your content, nobody's going to see it unless you pay for people to see it. So
right, you're forcing it there.
Right. Yeah, unless you're forcing it. So the organic reach on Facebook is pretty much non-existent unless people like what you're putting out there. And by like, I don't mean liking it. Obviously, that's important, but I mean like actually engaging with it, clicking on it,
sharing it to their friends, going, "Isn't this funny?" That sort of thing.
Right. So it's not about just putting stuff out there every day.
Yeah.
And in thinking, I run a company, I need to put something on Facebook every day. No, you don't. You need to, strategically find good content that your users are going to engage with and are going to talk about it and get other, and share that with their friends and, have conversations about it.
On the other side of it, and I'm talking exactly in this nonprofit charitable organization kind of a thing, I don't know that necessarily we hear enough about what they're working on, specifically like what would your dollars fund?
Yeah.
So I do think it's interesting that you there was a gravity that pulled you there into that space because, every time Esquire magazine puts something out, it's in my Facebook. I don't even remember liking Esquire magazine. But as we were talking before we started recording, the Red Cross is near and dear to my heart. And it took me a while before I realized that one of their main efforts is furnace fires. So is it because they're not staffing? Are they not putting people on social? Are they not hiring agencies? Where's the breakdown where there's this giant sucking sound where all that quality content should be coming from?
Yeah, I don't think it's an understaffing thing,
Okay.
because I think it's just a matter of just not executing your digital strategy correctly. And
So you think they have a strategy that they're just not carrying out?
It's like I said earlier, everyone has a social media manager, right? And or a lot of groups have a social media manager that's on salary.
Whether or not they've been trained in it is why I rolled my eyes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Right. Yeah. So everyone has a social media manager. I just don't think they're doing things right. Their boss is telling them, hey, you need to put something out every day. My son uses Facebook. He's always on it. We need to be on there and put something up every day.
I can't get my kid off a computer with a pry bar.
Yeah.
Put ads in front of his face.
Yeah. Yeah. Why aren't we on Snapchat? My kid uses that all the time. Okay. Yeah. You probably should be on Snapchat, but you shouldn't be,
You should be aware that here on the Pitchwerks podcast, Snapchat is a running joke because we have it, but we never use it.
Right. Yeah.
So every time I list all the different things that we have, I go, oh yeah, Pitchwerks is on Instagram, Facebook, never mind. We're not really on Snapchat.
Yeah. You should be.
I know I should be. I think I've reached that point in my life where there are now, and I'm not, this is not a cop-out. I think user interfaces change by generation.
Mm-hmm.
You may disagree with me, but the Snapchat interface is far less intuitive for me than the Twitter interface and the Facebook interface and the Instagram interface.
Yeah, I think that's why it was genius for Instagram to roll out, basically their Snapchat copy of Instagram stories
with old people buttons.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because you don't have to deal with all these lenses. You don't have to, they did finally just roll out the private messages, but you don't have to, send them to certain people all the time. Kids don't text each other anymore. They just Snapchat each other. I got
a 16-year-old, I know. Otherwise, I didn't understand it. And I still, to this point, like I said, I don't like the interface. I think it's a generational thing. I think it's built towards a completely different focus group.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I don't use it personally.
Yeah.
I think it's important for a lot of brands to use it, but don't overuse it. People don't want to see you working at your desk every day. For a lot of our clients, they do a lot of galas, that kind of stuff. So we don't have them on Snapchat every day.
No.
But we have, if there's a gala, we get a geo filter for that gala.
Mm-hmm.
You better believe it. And when everyone is, Snapchatting that night, they scroll to the right and they find that awesome filter that we made for that event, and they're Snapchatting it, and we love it.
When someone is looking at Kelevra versus another competitor, how do you stand apart?
We talked about it a little bit earlier, but the one thing we like to do is to be as cohesive as possible. So, we take your brand, we look at your website, we look at your mobile presence, we look at and we try to create a social presence that's going to make sense for your brand.
I think what you're talking about is you're doing a thorough job evaluating the work, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's key. But I let me just run an idea past you. Everyone says they do a thorough job, right?
We really try to be transparent and where we're spending your dollars, and delivering in all of your dollars that we're going to be spending for you are going to help increase awareness of your organization, help raise your money, help build your email list. We don't spend $1,000 a month on Google Analytics because it doesn't.
That's
cost
not
that
what it
much.
costs, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of that.
I honestly think what sets us apart is that the transparency, the upfrontness.
Yeah.
That we don't set unrealistic goals.
Yeah.
We say we think that we can deliver on this particular campaign. We call it 6x ROI. So if you give us $100, we can raise you $600. But we don't tell you we're going to raise you $1,000.
Oh my God, you just blew my mind. You actually say that to people. You're going to go 6x ROI.
Oh yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. But there's other companies that say, oh, we're going to give you 10x ROI on this, and make excuses the whole time while they don't. So
they actually go even further, and then it doesn't materialize.
Oh yeah. We that's the one thing that we try to do is really manage expectations well. And if you manage expectations well, you don't have to make excuses for yourself.
Well, if you say 10x ROI, which if you need that decoded, that's 10 times your return on investment. That's if somebody says that, I'm going to hold them to it.
Yeah.
I will remember that from a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that you're pitching it. You're soft pedaling it, right? You're like, okay, I think I might be able to do 9. I might be able to do 15, but I'm going to stick with 6 because I can deliver 6.
Yeah.
Right. If you promised me 10 and you didn't deliver, I'd hold on to that grudge for a while.
Yeah.
I think I would.
Yeah. And that's what's kind of helped us succeed is, we don't overpromise, and we definitely don't underdeliver.
That's fantastic. Would you mind if people reached out to you with questions?
I would love it.
How would they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Probably, they could tweet us at Kelevra Ideas would probably be a cool way to do it.
I appreciate you being willing to answer questions for people. Are there any campaigns you have going on right now that you want people to get invested in?
Yeah. Well, what I would like some people to do is we are working with this awesome organization in New York.
Yeah.
They're called the Pink Agenda. They're part of the Breast Cancer Research Foundation, which is a huge organization. So they love Pittsburgh. They do a great job. They have a branch in Pittsburgh, Boston, Atlanta, and they're based out of New York. And the one thing would like people to do is follow them on Instagram. They have an awesome Instagram. It's at the Pink Agenda. That's the kind of campaign that we're running now. Is we actually just did it, but we gave away a $300 Delta gift card if you posted a photo with a specific hashtag. It was just a campaign to get their Instagram following up. We got it up over 6,000, so we hit the goal. But the more the merrier. So at the Pink Agenda on Instagram.
Bill, what I love about what you're doing is that you're lifting people up. You've found a way to make money doing it. Everybody wins, right? So you're putting food on your table, right? You've identified people who really can use your talents. Not everybody can do it, obviously. Someone has to be the agency of record for Evil Incorporated too, right? But it doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be you. You can choose who you work with. And just hearing who you work with, the literacy campaigns, the Pink Agenda, I love when people can take ownership of their own career and what clients they're going to take, and they're making the world a better place while also, doing their business and doing what they love. So thank you for being on the Pitchwerks podcast. I really appreciate you coming in here. I know you guys are busy, especially with all the fundraising stuff that's been going on recently. So I know it was an investment of time for you. I hope you enjoyed your stay.
This beats, building out our office space, which is what I would have been doing tonight if I wasn't here. And it was an honor to be on the podcast, and you just earned a loyal listener.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Sadly, we are out of time. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate, and I don't say it enough, all the people that listen to this show every week. We should all be so lucky to be able to pick where our efforts go and who they benefit in this way. And I do think that a lot of times when people say, well, follow your dreams, make sure that, you're doing everything that you want, you only live once, those kinds of things. It's important to point out all these different people that we talk to and about on this show that are doing just that. I hope you see it. I hope you value it. And hopefully it helps you to get out and do whatever it is that you're going to do next. So until next week, I will catch you soon. Hit me up. Send me a tweet, a Instagram. You can even Snapchat me. PITCHWERKS.
The Pitchwerks podcast comes to you from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a production of the Epicast Network and McTaggart, LLC. Engineering and production by Buzzy Torek and Nick Miller. For more information, show feedback, and ad sales, visit pitchwerks.com, PITCHWERKS.com. On social media, find and follow the show on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram using that same brand name, PITCHWERKS.